Now, you have like such a beautiful sense of purpose in the work that you're doing. I know you've done a lot around female financial empowerment, and I want you to talk a little bit about that. Like, what goes on with women in financial planning? What are we getting wrong about this space?
What are we getting wrong? That's a great question because it doesn't, to me, it's so obvious. I think part of it, truthfully, is communication style. If you subscribe to the men are from Mars, women are from Venus school of thought, men and women communicate differently. We think differently. And so many financial advisors are men who came up in an industry that wasn't really designed to serve women. So I think it's not rocket science in terms of how we choose to communicate and how we begin to understand what's important to someone. You know who I'm terrible with? A client who cares about portfolio performance. You know why? Because I just don't think that's not part of the value proposition to me. Like, yes, we can allocate you in a good way, and the market over time is going to do what the market's going to do. You know, I'm so much more interested in helping you use your resources in a way that align with your values and helping you think about how to spend with purpose and intention. And maybe that's because I'm a woman. I don't know. But I think if we just communicated differently and we anchored to the things that matter most to people instead of trying to make it all about performance. I also think the industry in general can be so intimidating for so many people when it really doesn't have to be. But then when people get intimidated, they start to feel shame around what they don't know, shame about what they haven't done, or maybe shame about what they have done. Like, hey, I've run a credit card debt. Like, no, that's okay. You're very normal. You're very human. Like, human beings are just messy and complicated, and that's okay. And I think we need to make space for that in financial services and wealth management and financial planning. Like, decisions in a spreadsheet are one thing. Decisions in real life are totally different. And so that's, I think, part of our approach is making space for the humanness, the messiness of it all.
Yeah, I love that so much. I think the financial gurus of the world, I won't name the one that I'm thinking of, but like there's a lot of like, oh, how did you get here? You have that much, or you've been spending this much and you only earn this much? Like, and it is very much like dad energy of like, you did the wrong things. Like, why would you have done that? Right. And who's gonna feel motivated to like be honest about their finances when they're getting like scolded and shamed by experts in the process?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I also think every expert has an opinion, right? So you've got some people who are like, well, if you don't go to Starbucks, right, stop spending $4 a day on coffee. And then if you save all your money, like you'll be wealthy down the road. And then, you know, I see funny memes on social media, which is like, hey, I stopped going to Starbucks. I'm still not a millionaire. And ultimately, it comes down to this idea of purpose and intention and prioritizing savings to make sure that you're on track to accomplish things you want to do, having enough to keep the lights on and a roof over your head, and then whatever is left over, have at it. You want to go to Starbucks? Great. You want to not go to Starbucks? That's your choice too. But just make choices with intention and purpose in a way that serves you. And it's not all or nothing. And I feel like sometimes these arguments are so black and white, and that's not how the world works. But I'm with you. Yes. I would not have done well had someone shamed me or judged me about my financial mistakes. And that's one of the reasons why I am so candid about my financial mistakes, is because I want to normalize it. Guess what, all? I ran up credit card debt more than once, and it was on really stupid stuff. Although I still have the first pair of Jimmy shoes I ever bought at Saks. But, you know, I signed up for debt insurance. After I consolidated my debt, I signed up for debt insurance, which I didn't even know because I didn't read the form. And I wound up a year into trying to pay down my debt. I actually owed more because of the insurance payments. So, I sacrificed my financial autonomy. I didn't prioritize saving for my future. I found myself without enough money to pay an estimated tax bill one quarter. Like, I have made a lot of mistakes, and there's nothing to be embarrassed about, because guess what? I'm human. Humans aren't really good with money in general, and that's okay. So let's talk about it. Let's learn from it. Let's normalize it. Let's remove the shame, for Lord's sake. Let's remove the shame so that people start to develop a growth mindset around, hey, I've not been good at this thing up until now, but now I understand and I'm willing to make a change because I can be better.